Don't compare yourself, bro. Stop comparing yourself to others, bro. You should love yourself exactly the way that you currently are. Because you're beautiful. You're a beautiful individual. Are you seriously still comparing yourself to others? Haven't you realized that that's bad for your mental health by now? I'm gonna present a counter argument. Comparing yourself to others is something that the more you try not to compare yourself to others, the more you're gonna go insane, because it's in your blood, it's in your DNA as a human, as a social animal, a tribe animal, to compare yourself to others based on the standards of the group. How well do you perform? How likely is it that with your current situation, your status in the social ladder, you're able to find resources, find a mate, compete with the others in the group, or not be excommunicated by the group, not be ostracized by the group? You're always going to be comparing yourself to others, worrying about what other people are doing and how you stack up against them. And so a lot of people always say, oh, don't which I of course, I mean, it's not all bad. There is probably some utility to, if you're obsessive about always worrying about what other people are doing, yes. But the idea that you can completely live a life where you're not comparing yourself to others ever is completely false. And if you start getting angry at yourself or upset at yourself because you compare yourself to others, you're just going to be even more upset, right? So if you are going to compare yourself to others, which you definitely are because it's part of your DNA, it's part of your biology as a human, it's how we evolved, you might as well compare yourself to strong people, to a strong social circle. Because people always say this, you are the average of the 5 people that you surround yourself with. And if you are constantly comparing yourself to others, which is probably what you're going to be doing as a human being, you might as well compare yourself to people that are doing well in life. Because if you're surrounded by 5 losers and you say, am I all right? Like, am I going to make it in life? Am I going to be able to acquire resources and find a woman that will let me put my winky inside of her and impregnate her and continue my bloodline? And you're surrounded by a bunch of losers, and you base your opinion, the solution that you come to about whether or not you're going to be able to find resources and succeed in life is based on 5 people that you're surrounded by, your small inner circle. And those 5 guys are the biggest losers in the entire world. And you're like, well, I'm doing okay compared to them. Like, I'm doing all right. I'm doing maybe slightly better than them. Then you're not going to have a very realistic worldview. So you're always going to be basing your status on the people that are surrounding you. And I think this is something that I'm trying to get more in the habit of just saying, this is something that I do, or we, or this, because I realize something that I do in my videos a lot is I say like you, which definitely sounds conceited, and I don't think that way. As much as I talk like that, I don't think that way. Like I always like these are problems that I see in my own life, and then I come to this. I think it's because I feel like I'm talking to myself. Like when I'm talking to the camera, most of the time, of course, it's things that I've learned in my own life, problems that I have. And when I say you do this, I'm actually talking to myself. I'm saying like, hey, motherfucker, you. But then, of course, when people watch it, they don't understand that. And it's just like, I'm great and you. So anyways, well, what was the point I was making here? You're always going to compare yourself to others. You're going to try to get an idea of how you stack up in the social ladder and your ability to gather resources and continue your bloodline and reproduce based on the people around you in your circle, that's what you see society or your competitors as, and or your teammates. And if they're a whole bunch of losers and you say, oh, well, I'm doing about as well as them, then of course you're going to feel okay. Like, a lot of people do this thing where, including myself, where you have a circle of friends that are like, all they do is they smoke weed every day, and they keep getting fired from jobs, and they can't keep stable jobs, and they're not actually producing anything. They're not actually going out and making a dent in the world. They're not meeting women, learning how to date, preparing for the future, learning how to gather resources. All they are doing is wasting their time away, chasing cheap dopamine, rubbing one out 3-4 times a day on Brazzers, Cornhub, and you look around and you say, I've got this anxiety because sometimes I feel like I'm not really where I should be in the world. But then I look around at my friends and I think, you know what? I'm doing okay. But the standards that you have are based on your friends and your social circle, and you look around at your friends, and your friends are objectively a bunch of losers. They aren't doing anything. And so maybe if you say, yeah, you know what, I'm doing all right, because I'm doing, for the most part, kind of better than my friends, but your friends are a bunch of losers, maybe you're just the biggest loser. So, if you're going to be comparing yourself constantly, if it's just in your nature and it's not something that you can avoid, you might as well build your circle to be stronger and more successful. And you can compare yourself, because you always are going to naturally slightly adjust. You're not going to 100%. If you somehow today make your 5 best friends are Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk and 3 other billionaires, you're not going to wake up tomorrow morning and be on their level. But gradually over time, you're going to see yourself adjust, and you're going to be, because there's the concept of keeping up with the Joneses and doing the same thing that the people around you are doing. And that's real, and that's based on human evolution and staying part of the group and saying, yes, I'm going to be able to pull my weight. I'm part of the tribe. You can rely on me to help you out for hunting. Because, if you can't be trusted and you're excommunicated or you're ostracized, then it's gene death. You don't get to reproduce. So humans have a great ability to adapt to the standards of the people that they're surrounded by. And this is what I'm saying. If you're surrounded by Joe, Joey, Zach, and Trevor from high school, and all they ever do is smoke weed, bro, and play COD, and then you say, you know what, how am I doing? Sometimes I have this anxiety and I worry about where I am in life. But then I look at my friends and they're making $10K a year and they're smoking weed every day. And I'm making $12K a year and I smoke weed every other day. You know what? Hey, I'm actually doing all right. I'm going to be okay. You have to look at the bigger picture, of course. You have to look at all of society, but the people that you're going to compare yourself most and base your standards upon are going to be the people closest to you. And if the 5 people closest to you are, like I said, Joe, Jack, Zach, and Trevor from high school who aren't doing anything with their lives, you're probably not going to be very motivated to change and adjust. That's why it's so important. It's so important to surround yourself with successful people. Easier said than done. Now you're probably wondering, okay, so how do I find these successful people? How do I meet these people? And you got to start. This is not actually the topic of this video. I'm getting too off topic here, but because then you got to put yourself out in the world. And this is something that I found out through the YouTube. I used to always think nobody exists who understands me. Nobody exists who's really on my wavelength. But I just wasn't putting myself out there. And I wasn't confidently putting my opinions out into the world because I was afraid people were going to make fun of me or shoot me down or say, oh, you shut up. We don't want to hear that. But once I started doing that, I've made a lot of friends and created a lot of allies and somewhat of a circle of people that are more successful than me primarily, which is great, which is what I want, because I see them, I'm inspired, I learn from them, and I get better every single day by having those people surround me all the time. Anyways, I hope this was an easily understandable, easy for you to understand. Sometimes I wonder if I'm just yapping constantly and whatever I'm saying makes no sense to people, but I hope it does. And let me know if it doesn't. Send me an email, yungjamesYT@gmail.com. Thank you guys. Take care.